What's up, y'all? It's your man Dad Dude bringing you guys another video. So if you're a Panthers fan like me, that loss to the Bucks was just gut-wrenching, and that's because it seemingly doesn't matter who the players are or who the coaches are. The Panthers are gonna panther, and by that I mean year after year, season after season, through coaching change and quarterback changes and turnover of the roster, the players make the same mistakes the Panthers make the same mistakes time and time again. It's almost uncanny how they manage to make the same mistakes or make the same errors and have the same flaws in their game plans year after year. Through different coaches, different players, it almost doesn't matter. And this game gave you that full experience all in one game. The Panthers come out, they take a 14-0 lead. With under 6 minutes to go in the half, the Panthers are up 14-0. And by halftime, it is a 14-10 game. But even that wasn't the complete turnaround of the game. The Panthers held a lead going into the fourth quarter. They were up 21 out there, I believe 21-16 going into the fourth quarter. But they just couldn't stop Tom Brady going deep to Mike Evans throughout the whole game. Now I get it. The Panthers are without J.C. Horn. They're out there with their third and fourth string cornerbacks. You don't really have anybody who can match up with Mike Evans, who is one of the better receivers in the league. You don't have anybody who can match up with him one-on-one. I get that. So why are you leaving your corners in a matchup with Mike Evans one-on-one? You know Mike Evans is the best receiver on the Bucs. Double him. Put a safety over the top. I can maybe forgive the first touchdown, even the second long touchdown. But by the third touchdown, you would have thought Steve Wilks had put a safety over the top. And this goes back to something that we got to remember, that Steve Wilks comes from the Ron Rivera coaching tree. And something that was a big flaw with Ron Rivera was in-game adjustments. He never seemed to be able to make proper in-game adjustments. His first half game plan was usually pretty solid. But by the second half, a lot of times the other team will figure him out. And if the players on the field just didn't make spectacular plays based off their own talent, his game plan wasn't taking them anywhere. And I don't want to put all that on Steve Wilks yet, but this game, he made the same mistake Ron Rivera made a lot worse. He showed the same inability to make in-game adjustments, because how do you let Mike Evans beat you on pretty much the same route 3 times for touchdowns in the same game? It just doesn't make any sense. And also, he did something that was a big complaint with Ron Rivera, which again, Steve Wilks comes from the Ron Rivera coaching tree. He played his cornerbacks like 8 to 10 yards off the ball, so he's just giving the Bucs these 5 and 8 yard completions over and over again, which Brady runs a timing offense. You're not going to throw off the timing of his offense if you have your corners damn near 10 yards off the ball. You're just giving him free completions, easy completions over and over again, letting Brady get into a rhythm. And that showed itself throughout the game. Now, yeah, again, you're playing with your third or fourth corner, so you don't have guys who can get up there and just press somebody, man them up, and play, lock the receiver down. But you don't necessarily need that, right? Brady hasn't been able to show much of a deep. The Brady and the Bucs offense have not shown much of a deep threat throughout the season. Get your corners up, press them. If they get beat off the line, okay, you have your safeties play closer up, and you work with that. But letting your corners just sit 10 yards off the ball and giving them easy completions, you're just letting Brady get into a rhythm. You're letting that Bucs offense get into a rhythm, because the Bucs offense could not run the ball, but they don't have to if you're giving them easy 5 to 8 to 10 yard completions all the way down the field. Brady is more than content to nickel and dime you all the way down the field. Now, it may seem like I'm going back on what I'm saying by saying you should play your corners up on the ball, but you should also guard against Mike Evans beating you deep. I'm already going to assume that Mike Evans is going to beat the corner. That's why it is up on the coach. That's why it's come up on the coach to have that safety play over the top of Mike Evans. Maybe Chris Godwin too, but more so Mike Evans, because he is their deep threat. He is their big play receiver. You should have been doubling Mike Evans no matter what. So you can have a cornerback, try to press him at the line, play him close, and have that corner play underneath, have a safety over the top. And if Brady is able to make that pinpoint precision throw down the field between the corner and the safety, you live with that. But you make him have to make that throw. The Panthers are giving Brady wide open looks to Mike Evans, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. And that's how they lost the game, because Steve Wilks did not make that adjustment in the game. And also, the Panthers pass rush was just not very good this game. Now, they got home to Brady some, but that was mostly when Brady had to hold the ball a lot. Now, I've made videos talking about Brian Burns. Brian Burns is a very good player, but I made a video or several videos talking about how I thought the Panthers should have traded him for what the Rams are offering, which was 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. Where was Brian Burns in this game? Brian Burns was going against a second or third string left tackle. Brian Burns had no sacks. He had 1 quarterback hit. That is unacceptable from your premier pass rusher in a game that is the game of your season, pretty much. This is the game, the Panthers have had to win, pretty much every game for the past few weeks to get into the playoffs. But this game specifically was the game you needed to win. This one right here is for all the marbles. And Brian Burns doesn't show up. Again, going against a second or third string left tackle. 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit. That is not acceptable from a guy who is supposed to be the best pass rusher on your team, which he is. I'm not going to sit up here and make the case that Brian Burns isn't the best pass rusher on the Panthers. He irrefutably is. But you need a better game than that from your premier pass rusher. Again, going against a second or third string left tackle. Brian Burns should have had 2 or 3 sacks and, even more quarterback hits in that game, considering who he was going against. The performance he had was just unacceptable. What's the old saying? Big time players make big time plays in big time games. Brian Burns did not show up in this big time game. He did not make big time plays when he needed to, when the Panthers needed him. He has to eat that one. That's on him. He didn't show up. It's just the Panthers seemingly make a lot of the same mistakes that they've always made, especially when it comes to coaching. Coaching when it comes to the offense. Now, I'm someone who has had a lot to say about Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold played well enough to win this game. For all the critiques I have of Sam, he played well enough for the Panthers to win this game. Yeah, he had his mistakes. He had the interception. He didn't handle the pocket very well, but he played well enough. The coaches, I believe, let the offense down again because there were several times in this game where the Panthers are faced with a 3rd and long. And they did what they've always done, which is go to some stupid screenplay that almost never works, and they pretty much give up on that 3rd and long. Which, given their game plan, I don't think makes a lot of sense. Their game plan put a lot of responsibility on Sam Darnold throughout the game. But when it comes to 3rd and long, you don't trust Sam Darnold enough to run a regular play. You have to go to a screen, which again almost never works. We've seen this all going all the way back to when Cam was here. And I think it's a function of having a defensive-minded head coach. I really do. I think when you have a defensive-minded head coach, that coach is going to rely more on his defense and have to go with a safe offensive game plan. And they are more likely to, plan for a punt and plan for their defense to hold out and get the ball back for the offense. I think that is just a flaw with the mentality of a defensive-minded head coach. Typically, some don't always go with that. But we saw it with Ron Rivera. We saw it with Steve Wilkes this week, where there were several times where the Panthers had the 3rd and long. And despite the fact that they had put a lot on Sam Darnold's plate, whether good or bad throughout that game, they still did not call a play that would allow Sam Darnold to sit back there in the pocket, read the field, and make a throw that could possibly get the Panthers a first down. They were going to these screen passes that, again, almost never work. It's just, the players have to execute, and some of the players didn't play well. C.J. Henderson was getting beat out there. I don't want to talk too bad about Keith Taylor because the guy's a 4th-string corner. What are you expecting? Sam Darnold had his mistakes, but again, he played fairly well. The Panthers' running game didn't really get going. The Panthers' offensive line, while I thought they played okay in pass protection, they did give up some pressures. They were not opening up a lot of holes in the run game. I still think this loss right here has to fall primarily on the coaches. I would love to get up here and say, hey, they lost this game because of Sam Darnold, because Sam Darnold didn't play well. He turned the ball over, but that's not the case. He did turn the ball over, but he still played fairly well. This game is on the coaches. They showed a lot of the mistakes that Panthers coaches have made for years now. And again, Panthers are gonna Panther. This game has to fall on Steve Wilkes. I still think he's done a very good job with the Panthers so far. But this game has to fall on his shoulders. This game has to fall on him and his staff, him and Ben McAdoo. they are the reasons I believe the Panthers lost this game. That's a lot for you on this one, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go hit that thumbs up. And if you are so inclined, subscribe and leave a comment. I respond to almost everything. And I'll see you guys in the next one.